It's the worst thing you can imagine as a mother or father. One day your child doesn't come home and you don't know where they are. They're simply gone without a trace. Those are exactly the kinds of cases we want to show you today. But with one special twist. Every child in this video resurfaced years later, but they were deeply changed and their stories are unbelievable. And we're starting right away with a case that leaves you completely speechless. One that happened in Glendale, Arizona. 14-year-old Alicia Navarro actually grew up there in very sheltered circumstances, living with her siblings and her single mother. But Alicia didn't live a typical teenage life. She was a bit different. She was diagnosed with autism at an early age, a condition that made her a very introverted child who struggled to fit in with groups. She didn't like going to school, and even the thought of having to go outside sometimes triggered screaming fits. The only thing that made her feel safe was routine. She usually wore the same clothes, ate the same things, and needed a structured daily schedule with no changes, which makes what happened on September 15th, 2019 even stranger. Early that morning, Alicia sat down at her desk and wrote a note. "I ran away, I'll come back. I swear. I'm sorry. Alicia." She left it on the table, then slipped out through a back door in the living room, past her sleeping stepdad. In the yard, she climbed onto a chair so she could climb over the property fence and disappeared alone into the darkness. When her mother, Jessica, woke up a few hours later, the house felt unusually quiet. And when she walked into Alicia's empty room, she understood why. Along with her, all her most important belongings were gone. Her favorite pair of shoes, a body spray, her MacBook, iPhone, and a little bit of her makeup. But that wasn't the only thing that terrified Jessica that morning. She also remembered that recently Alicia had been chatting with strangers online more often and had been sharing personal information about herself. On top of that, she suddenly started wearing makeup and buying revealing clothes, which was very unusual for her. Jessica filed a missing person report the very same day, and a search was launched everywhere. While speaking with the police, she also mentioned another important detail from the evening before.
I saw my daughter was through these stairs and she talked to me and told me, "Mom, what are you doing still awake? It's late." And I told her I'm waiting for my husband, Yvonne, to come home from work. So then she said that, "Oh, if you don't sleep, you're gonna get in a bad mood." And she went back upstairs.
Had Alicia been planning to run away for a long time? For 4 long years, her mother had to torture herself with that question. There were no witnesses and no clues as to where Alicia was. Then, on July 23rd, 2023, Jessica finally got answers from her daughter herself. Alicia simply showed up at a police station in Montana and said she wanted to be removed from the National Missing Persons list. After that, she spoke to an officer via video call.
Anybody hurt you in any way?
No, no one hurt me.
Our goal is we just want to make sure that you're safe.
I understand that.
Later, she revealed that she had been living for 4 years with a 36-year-old man named Edmund David, who was also her boyfriend. Police arrested him immediately and then discovered illegal substances in his home and images of underage girls on his phone. Whether Alicia truly stayed with him of her own free will is still unknown to this day. Her mother was overjoyed when she learned Alicia had been found alive and recorded this video for the public.
First of all, I want to give glory to God for answering their prayers and for this miracle. For everyone who has missing loved ones, I want you to use this case as an example that miracles do exist and never lose hope and always fight.
The next case shows that missing children are sometimes closer than you think. It's about 4-year-old Paisley Schultes who lived with her family in the village of Cayuga Heights, New York. But child services had decided the girl would be better off with another family because her parents used drugs. So in July 2019, court officers wanted to pick her up from her biological parents' home and hand her over to her new guardians. But no one answered the door. The house was empty and Paisley had vanished without a trace. And since her biological parents couldn't be found that day either, it seemed obvious to the police that the parents had kidnapped their daughter. The parents repeatedly denied it, and Paisley truly was never seen anywhere near them. Police and family searched desperately for her, put up flyers, launched searches, and yet Paisley remained invisible, as if she had vanished into thin air. Months passed, and every lead ended in nothing. Officers visited the parents' house several more times, and also searched the grandfather's home, located in the city of Saugerties, about 200 kilometers away. But here too, Paisley could not be found. Not until more than 2 years later, in February 2022, did an anonymous tip prompt investigators to carry out another search at the grandfather's house. This time the officers looked very closely, and sure enough, they noticed something they had missed before. One officer found a suspicious gap under the staircase. Behind it was a hollow space, basically an improvised secret hiding place. Tight, dark, and barely ventilated. Inside, little Paisley was sitting curled up next to her biological mother. From that point on, it was clear to investigators that the parents really had kidnapped their daughter and hidden her for 2 years in the grandfather's house, cut off from the outside world. They were arrested immediately, and Paisley was examined by a doctor. Thankfully, she was doing well, but a missing person case doesn't always begin with someone disappearing. Sometimes it begins with someone being found. That sounds strange at first, but there really is a case where that's exactly what happened. In 2016, a girl was wandering through Rome alone, unable to speak a single word of Italian. Passers-by were worried about her because she was clearly sleeping outside, so she seemed to be homeless. But she wouldn't accept money, and she had been wearing the same clothes for a long time. Since no one knew who she was, a photo of her was posted on social media. Many people immediately became convinced it was the British girl Maddie McCann, the child who had vanished without a trace from a holiday resort in Portugal 10 years earlier and had been missing ever since. They believed they could see many similarities. But people were wrong. Shortly afterward, the girl's real father came forward. Tavo Jauhojervi from Sweden claimed it was his 21-year-old daughter, Embla Jauhojervi, who had travelled to Rome to learn Italian. But the family had no idea where exactly she was staying because she had cut off contact with them. In fact, that was normal for the girl because she had Asperger's syndrome and repeatedly ran away from home, until her parents eventually gave up trying to search for her again and again. So there really are quite a few missing person cases where parents were right not to give up hope of finding their children alive. Which case shocked you the most? Write it in the comments.